Hi everybody, welcome to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. Look at this little gal, she is so cute. She was injured, but she's in good hands. She'll be rehabilitated right here in Weston, Connecticut. We are at Wildlife in Crisis. They've been here for over 30 years saving wildlife. And look, their mission, saving wildlife one life at a time. Dara, that is so adorable. You said it's a little gosling. It's gonna grow up to be a big goose.
It is going to grow up to be a big Canada goose, yes. He's here with his sibling. They were the only survivors when their family was unfortunately hit by a car. But these guys are okay, and they just have to grow up until they're old enough to eat on their own and fly and be able to survive by themselves, which will be probably a couple of months from now.
But why would they want to leave here?
But they do. They let us know. They let us know when they're ready, and we listen.
And they are wildlife. I mean, that's really what you're all about.
That is. That's our ultimate goal, is to release all of these animals. That being said, we do have some permanent residents. Those are, birds that are unreleasable because they can't fly for one reason or another, either for injuries that didn't heal quite right, or sometimes animals come in here and they're imprinted. People keep them too long, babies like this, before they bring them to us, and they don't know that they're wild animals. They think they're people, and they like to associate with humans, and we can't release animals like that. So we make sure that we raise baby animals like this with others of their own species so that we can eventually release them.
And you have a wide variety of animals here.
We do. We've taken over 200 species of animals.
Wow.
Many of those are bird species, just because we have more bird species in Connecticut than mammals, but we take in all indigenous wildlife, everything from tiny little hummingbirds to black bears.
Now, you've been around, I can't even believe it, for 30 years.
Yeah.
How did you get started? How did this become your passion?
It was kind of by default. I was working at a nature center, and they shut down their program, and then I just sort of took it over, and it was at my mother's house, and slowly but surely this place was donated to us, over 30 years ago now, and we've grown a lot since then. And now we take in over 5,000 animals, which is a lot of work. The majority of those animals come in between the months of May and September. So this is our busy season, and we are entirely volunteer run. Our interns are here. They're going to be coming soon. We have one here now, but they're going to be coming soon to care for all these babies that are going to be coming to us.
Who come from all over to learn from you.
They do. We've had hundreds of interns that have come from everywhere, from South Africa, all over Europe, but mostly the United States, and they're usually recent college graduates pursuing something in the environmental field. Some go on to be nurses, some go on to be veterinarians, some go on to environmental law. But it's a very intense internship. When you're taking in 5,000 animals a year, and the majority of those animals are coming in between May and September, that's a lot of animals to care for. So it's a long day. We start at 7 a.m. every morning. We go till 7 p.m. And our interns are the primary caregivers of the animals here, so they learn a lot in their time here.
Now, how do you find these? Do people bring them to you? How does that work?
People call us. At this time of year, we want to make sure we're not taking babies that have parents present. That's the last thing we want to do. So we want people to call us first so we can discuss the situation, and sometimes we can remedy it over the phone. But if the animals do need to come to us, people do bring them to us. We tell them how to collect them and put them in a container and bring them to us.
And of course, again, your end goal is to release as many as you can. But I know that there is one inside who we met many, many years ago who is still here, Woody the duck. Tell his story.
Yes.
I just love it.
Yes, we have a 25-year-old barn swallow is one of our permanent residents. Our permanent residents live a very long time. We have a 15-year-old kestrel in our clinic, and we have a 20-year-old wood duck in our clinic.
That's Woody.
That's Woody.
If you've
Yes.
ever, it's so cute.
So we have very long-lived animals here.
Now, what advice are you going to give to people out there, because you have a wonderful presence online and everything? What are some of the things you want people to know?
Well, just to live more harmoniously with wild animals, not think of them as a nuisance, think of them as a gift. People are often afraid of things like foxes, like they'll have a family of fox under their deck, and especially now with everybody home, if they were going to work every day, they probably wouldn't even know they had that family of fox under their deck. But fox pose no harm to children or people or even pets, so just enjoy them. Even coyotes, people are afraid of coyotes. Coyotes generally do not bother people, and again, if you supervise your pets, you have nothing to worry about where coyotes are concerned.
Dara, you have so many amazing animals here, and when we get back, we're actually going to see a wonderful bird release.
Yes, we have a hummingbird. In the fall when they're migrating, we get a lot of little songbirds. They hit windows. Sometimes they're just exhausted, they're hungry, and they need a place to lay over for a while. But this hummingbird, in December, you know, when it was 30 degrees, this hummingbird was at somebody's feeder and he just wouldn't leave. So they were able to capture him when he was on their feeder, and they brought him to us. So we've had him since December, and it's actually a girl, her. And, you know, it's time for release now. It's nice. The hummingbirds are coming back. We have a hummingbird feeder out here now, and we've had hummingbirds visiting it. It was empty this morning, so they're sneaking in there and getting the hummingbird food when we're not looking. So,
yay, so
he'll be
when we
ready
get
to go, and he'll have plenty of company here with other hummingbirds.
Fantastic. So stay tuned, everybody. When we get back, we have a special treat for you. Welcome back to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. As promised, we're going to show you a hummingbird release in just a little while. But first, we're back at Wildlife in Crisis, and look what Dara's holding. Can you guess? It's a squirrel. It's a red squirrel, Dara. I never have seen one so little.
He's a little red squirrel. Him and his sibling were found in the wall of somebody's home. And unfortunately, they took them out and trapped the mother before we could talk to them and tell them that we could tell them how to do it humanely, where they could keep the babies with the mother, which is what we always try to do. But unfortunately, their mother was no longer there. So we're going to raise them until they're old enough to be released on their own, which is going to be a couple of months from now. So he's drinking formula now and sleeping a lot in one of our incubators.
Cute. And he has a red kind of tinge to him.
They do. Yeah, we don't see red squirrels as much because the gray squirrels have kind of taken over. But they like evergreen trees. They like to eat pine cones, and they'll eat acorns too, but they really like evergreen trees. We don't have as many of those around anymore.
Oh, how precious. Oh.
So.
And of course, you actually had precious bears here.
We did, at the other end of the spectrum.
At the other end,
small
right, from little baby to
animal,
big.
but we did have some large animals here last year. We did have some baby bears that we raised. They came in at 5 pounds and then grew to be over 100 pounds while they were here. We had to quickly retrofit one of our raccoon cages to accommodate them, which was difficult, but we made it work, and they were so bonded with one another. It was amazing to see them. They didn't want anything to do with me. I was the only one that fed them. I wore the same thing every day, but they loved each other very much, and they were very, very bonded with one another, and they were eventually released at the end of the summer together. So.
And tragically, their mom had been killed.
Yes.
And so that often is what happens. So,
right.
That's one of the beauties of what you do, that you help people and educate them. So if viewers have questions before doing anything,
right.
they would contact you.
Yes, yeah, we try to avoid these circumstances. So we want people to contact us before they do anything rash, whether it's, you know, killing a mother bear, trapping a mother squirrel. So yeah, call us and we'll talk you through it. Animals are surprisingly resilient. I mean, we'll get chipmunks that are hit by cars that will survive. You'd be surprised. But this time of year, you know, we ask people to not apply pesticides to their lawns, not to put out rodenticides, because then birds of prey and other predators eat the poison rats and mice when they come out of your house. Fishing line, we just got a barred owl today that was entangled in fishing line. It doesn't even just affect water birds, it affects all sorts of animals. It's in the woods. Fishing line is everywhere, so that's a big problem. Dogs and cats should be inside for their well-being as well as wildlife. Songbirds worldwide, their populations are being affected by free-roaming cats. So keeping your cats indoors can really help wildlife, and obviously supervising your dogs. And, you know, not cutting down trees. Animals are nesting in trees right now, so it's really a bad time. Not that there's ever a good time to cut down trees, but this is a particularly bad time to cut down trees because you've got nesting birds and mammals in those trees.
So now we're ready for the release. Dara, I'm so excited. That's a little hummingbird you have.
It is. This guy's been with us since December, and she is ready to go. When you're ready?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, here she is.
You see her?
Oh my God. She's so pretty. It's amazing. I mean, the work you do is just so amazing. If people want to get involved, if people want to help you, because it's expensive, how can they find you, Dara?
We have a website, wildlifeincrisis.org. It's got all of our information on it. And it's also got a lot of frequently asked questions, like what do I do if I found a baby bird, that sort of thing. Most of the time we tell people to put them back. So our website is the best place to go. Our phone number is on there as well.
Isn't Dara amazing? Love what she's doing here. And I absolutely love her crow. He's so cute. Stay tuned. Lauren's Crazy Pet Show heading out on the road. We have another great story coming up right after this. Welcome back to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show, everybody. We're in Norwalk, Connecticut now to answer some of your questions about dog training. We stopped by one of our favorite trainers' homes who has some fabulous tips.
Yes, Lauren, I get this question quite often. People ask me, what type of collar should I wear on my dog? I always like to have a regular collar. It's a clip collar, goes on, and on that collar, I keep my dog's tags, ID, rabies. This collar is never real tight. If my dog was really in trouble, it would actually come off. So you see, I can't walk my dog on this collar. If my dog was afraid, they would slip out of it. So I like to use a harness, but there are many people who actually use what's called a martingale collar, and this is a safety collar. The nice part about the martingale collar is that when it's put on properly, your fingers should come in between the rings. The rings should never come together. So you can see, as much as she would if she got upset, she couldn't get out of this collar. So that is what we call a safety collar. There are collars that I really do not recommend. One of them is what's called a choke collar, and that does exactly what it's designed to do, choke. Now, Nikki would never wear one of these, and I would never use one because it puts pressure on the neck and can cause neck issues. Another collar that I would not use is called a pinch collar or a prong collar. I also find when a dog wears a prong collar that they start to associate the dog or the person or the child they're looking at with the pain they're feeling, and a prong collar will actually cause more behavioral issues. But I don't really use a collar attached to a leash. I like a harness. Harness that's fitted properly. It can't be big, it can't be sliding around. This is a freedom harness. It has many points of attachment that helps it to be a snug fit, and it also has the option of hooking on 2 points. It can hook in the front, also can hook in the back. And if you don't want 2 points, then of course you can take it apart, and it has a ring that attaches, and you make yourself a handle. This harness does not put pressure on my dog's neck, and it's a nice walking harness. One question I frequently get is, how do I stop my dog from pulling? No matter what type of equipment you have on, whether it is a harness, a collar, a leash, you want to not pull back on the leash. Once you pull back on the leash, your dog knows that they feel the pull and they're going to pull forward harder. So you have to wait them out. And when they're not pulling, they'll turn back to you and you will reward them. So if the leash gets tight, I'm going to wait until she comes back to me. Good girl. And when she does, I'm going to reward her. So I never pulled on the leash. Frequently, sometimes I tell a student, put your hand in your pocket, put your thumb on the leash so that your dog, you can't pull, because you see what's happening now is when she starts to feel a little bit of tension on the leash, she immediately is returning back to me. This is the first step in teaching your dog not to pull on a leash. Once your dog will stay close to you and you can reward them, and it's really impossible to get your dog to go away from you, then you're the one that can start to move. First thing you're going to do is you're going to walk backward, and you're going to feed your dog for being right beside you. And as you walk backward, your dog is following you. So the next step would be to pivot and walk the same direction that your dog is walking. So you're going to take a step, and you're going to feed. And you're going to take a step, and you're going to feed. So what happens is your dog will be with you. This is the beginning of actually walking without a leash, because you can see there's no tension on the leash now at all, and I have a dog that's now walking with me. Many people ask me, how do I teach my dog to stay? One thing that people do not realize is when you're teaching stay, you have to stand still. And if you say stay and you back up. You see how she came to me, even though I said stay? Because to her, backing up and bending over means come. So the first thing about stay that you have to tell yourself is stand still. So in order to teach stay, what I do is I use my hand and I will say stay, and I will reward my dog for staying. Now when I'm sure she's not going to move, then I'm going to take one step back. So I'll tell her stay, I'm going to stand upright, and I'm going to take one step. And then I'm going to return to her, and I'm going to take 2 steps. As long as I stay upright, my dog understands not to move. Stay. And I can continue to do this, and your dog learns to stay. Now, I would take the mat off the elevated bed, put that in the grass, and I would work on stay, and then gradually make the mat smaller until finally my dog would stay anywhere for any amount of time until they're released. You can work with a sit stay, you can work with a down stay. I'm not asking her to make the decision, I just want her to be comfortable on the stay.
Oh, those were such great tips. And we love hearing from you, so please write us right here at lauren'scrazypetshow@gmail.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. We're in Washington, Connecticut, and look at this. It looks like a scene out of The Sound of Music. It is gorgeous here. We're at H.O.R.S.E of Connecticut, one of our favorite spots. They have been rescuing, rehabilitating, and finding homes for horses for almost 40 years. And today we were invited to their open house.
We have everything from bake sale and boutique sale. The tack shop's open. We do tours. This way you can meet everybody.
And that's something we saw today that I love, the tour groups. Explain that.
Well, this way people can meet all the horses because we've got 22 horses on 47 acres, so there's a lot of walking. These are the 2 new guys behind me. The little one on the left here is Snickers. He's a 22-year-old pony, and then his buddy behind him is a 21-year-old Mowgli, who's a big show guy. Their mom had back surgery, so she's been going to be laid up for the next couple months, so we offered to take them to take care of them so that she doesn't have to worry about what happens to them while she's being laid up. They're getting spoiled and having all kinds of attention here.
And what's really wonderful is that you have so many different varieties too that people probably don't even notice. I mean, as we walk around, I see ponies, I see huge horses. It's really, really nice to see.
We have every breed. We actually have everything from a 34-inch mini to a 19-hand draft. So.
And explain, because people need to understand, your horses are rescue horses. That's what you're all about. You've been doing this for almost 40 years. Congratulations.
Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, I was going to say it's 39 years this year. Everything we get has been abused, starved, abandoned, going to be sold at auction, that type of thing. We bought some of it out of kill pen. Depends on the situation. I mean, when people come, call us, we go. Once we pick them up, we got to figure out what they need first. The first 24 hours, we try and figure out exactly what their needs are. If they've been starved, you can't just start off by feeding them. We offer water and we offer hay, but they don't get any grain for at least 3 to 5 days, because if you start feeding them and their system's not used to it, they'll die. They actually die from it. So we've learned over the years that you do certain things in certain phases, and it gets better and better as time goes on. But once you get them the adequate water and the food, the hay starts in the food, we get the vet and the farrier up, that type of thing. The vet comes in, does a couple shots, we worm them right away, get the teeth done right away. Everything is done within like the first month. So they get a lot of stuff done, but then it gets easier for them. And then they can gain their weight, and then they start getting worked and whatever. Then we can evaluate what their riding capability. Some of them are ridden, some of them, we get told they're a 15-year-old and they're closer to 30. So they're basically the retirement age, which is fine. We have some that here, they're here for life. And other ones that, once we retrain them, that type of thing, and they're retrained as trail horses, then they go up for adoption.
Many are adopted.
Yes.
Because you've done hundreds of horses.
Yeah, we've done over 700 horses.
It's just amazing. And that's what really this open house is all about, because you need help to sustain this. I mean, it's expensive to raise these horses.
Yeah, we try and bring in the money for the horses, because the open house doesn't bring in any money, otherwise it's a free open thing to the public. But yeah, we do have stuff here that we try and sell. We've got a tack shop that's open all year round. We actually have a silent auction and that type of thing with some items in there. So
we saw a little boy Adam, I think, grooming Molly, the pony.
That's he actually sponsors her.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very
And that's
sweet.
another thing you do, sponsoring.
Yep. And that is a big part of our farm, because people that don't know anything about horses, if you have no horse experience at all, you can come up here and work with our volunteers, because everybody's a volunteer here. They all come just to, for the love of horses. And all of our volunteers, like Helen down there, she not only sponsors, they come up on weekends, they clean their fields, that type of stuff. They just love being with the horses, which is what it's all about. I mean, it's not a time thing. They come up here and spend half a day. It gives them something that's bigger than themselves that they can actually bond with. And horses have just very gentle souls. You can see their soul through their eyes. And they can calm you down. I mean, it's a proven thing, just like dogs and cats. They can calm you down, they can mellow you out, especially people that have high stress in their lives.
So Patty, you have some events coming up, and we want to get these out so people can know ahead of time and put it on their calendar.
Well, June 13th is not only Connecticut open house, but we're going to have an open house here. So we'll be doing tours again. But I do a spring and a fall horse care clinic, because people that want to get interested in horses and help take care of them want to know how to take care of them safely. So we do a class from 10 to 12, and it's everything from picking feet and knowing what, feeds and hay and worming and that kind of thing. So it's a pretty much knowledgeable little couple-hour session, and then we'll be doing tours and that type of thing for the open house. And then the 20th is going to be our Kids Day, which we have every year, and that's just for kids.
And we need everybody to know where you are so they can come on down and follow you also.
Well, we're at 43 Wilbur Road in New Preston, Connecticut. The phone number is 860-868-1960. And we've got our website, which is horseofct.org.
Oh, I love all of these horses. They all have their own special story. This is Fiona, Princess Fiona. She just turned 13, and we actually have introduced you to her in a previous show, but we love her. She's so special. Came from a really abusive situation, but look at her now. She's the queen of the hill with her big boyfriend, Duke, who's absolutely stunning. Good taste. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. This has been Lauren's Crazy Pet Show.